Yeah, hello everybody. This is Howard, the Teaserking, coming to you with some more college football pre-season analysis. I'm going to do two more conferences today. I'm going to do the Mountain West and the Pac-12. Then this will complete all the major conferences. I'll still do the AAC and the MAC and the USA Sun Belt. I'll do them all because there's value everywhere because you're looking for the weak team to bet against. And I did a little analysis looking at the weak teams, your San Jose States, Texas State, teams that give up 40 points a game and really don't have a quarterback. And in a teaser, if you were to bet against them, it's almost 90%. Most of them were 10-1, 11-1 against. There's a few 9-2s, probably because there was a couple of weak teams playing each other. But generally, the weak team, especially in a better conference, like in Arkansas, was like 10 or 11-1 against. So there's a lot of value in finding the weak team and betting against them. Because all these teams, there's so much money involved. They're playing for bowl games. And so they have to, when they play the easy team, first of all, they only play, 12, 13 games. So when they play the easy team, they got to beat them and they got to pound them. It's like, okay, finally, here's a win, and we're going to win by a lot. So when they play the tougher teams, if they lose, well, they get their wins against the easier teams. That's the theory, and it seems to work very, very well. There wasn't any weak team that had a winning record against the spread in a teaser. So that shows you about that. Now, your Alabamas are not really always strong in a teaser either because they're a defensive team and they run the ball. They're not going to score a lot, but they'll lay 30 points. And they're just, if they don't get the turnovers or the punt returns, they're not going to score a lot. But because they're Alabama, instead of laying 14, they're laying 24. And that's why they don't cover, but nobody's really got a lot of balls to bet against them. So you end up either losing with Alabama or just like I do, I tend to not bet unless they're playing Georgia or Auburn, and I'll take Auburn and Georgia most of the time unless Bama's the dog. All right, so let's get into it. I ranked the teams 1 through 5. I ranked the quarterbacks, offense, defense, and coach 1 through 5. It's a new thing I've invented that I've kind of developed into my next theories, still using all my other theories, but I think it helps clear up what am I looking at here? I want to find a weak quarterback. I want to find a weak defense. I want to find a weak team. And I think this really helps me. So let's go through it. The ones in the Mountain West: Boise, Fresno State, San Jose State. The 2s, Wyoming, maybe a 3 depending how bad their quarterback is, and Utah State. The 3s are Colorado State, Nevada, Vegas, Air Force, New Mexico. They're all kind of good teams. If they play each other, it'll be close games. They might be able to beat a Fresno State or a San Diego State, but generally not. But they're not that bad. Then you have 4 is Hawaii. They're terrible. And 5 is San Jose State, who's even worse than Hawaii. They're the worst team. And for example, San Jose State, last year they scored 15 points a game and gave up 41. And if I use my rankings, as a team they're a 5. Their quarterback's terrible, so he's a 4. Their offense is terrible. They score 15 a game as a 5. Their defense is terrible, letting up 41 a game, and their coach stinks. So basically, kind of, I knew they were bad anyway, but now I can see basically all 5s and probably a 5 as a quarterback, maybe a 4, which is not good. You want the 1s. So right there, you kind of line it up. Now when they play out of the conference, really good teams, they're going to get killed. In the conference, the only team they can hang with is Hawaii, maybe at home against the New Mexico or something. Excuse me, but generally, this you bet against. And to prove my point more, let's look at San Jose State in 2017 against the number. They were 12-1 if you bet against them. 7-0 as a road dog. 4-1 as a home dog. They were actually a home favorite once. And if you bet on them in a teaser, which is even worse because you're getting the 6 points. So you're instead of like here they're 2-5 as a road dog. So instead of getting 10, you're getting 16, and they're still 5-8 even with the added 6 points. They're 5-8 if you bet them, and 12-1 against. And that's my theory now. So I'm kind of keep developing, keep evolving, but staying with what brought me here for the last 40 years is basically this thing where I'm always hunting the strong and the weak. And that's where you get in trouble is when you play a Boise against the Utah State and they're laying 17. You go, oh, they'll kill them because they're Boise. No, because Utah State's a fairly good team. And that's what you got. And especially like Utah State opens up against Michigan State. Well, Michigan State's laying on like 24 points. But Utah State's not that bad. And that's what you got to look out for. Now, had it been Hawaii laying 28, I'd take Michigan State. But with San Jose State, it'd be a lock. But against Utah State, I'm not even thinking they're going to win by 28. It's going to be closer. So that's what I'm looking for. Quarterback Brett Rippon, strong quarterback, very good. Mark Rippon's his uncle from the Redskins. Alexander Madison, good running back, good coach. They run a balanced offense, and they got a real strong defense. So it's a very strong team. I do like them very much against Troy in the first game. Troy's not as strong as they were last year, and I just see Boise. I mean, they're laying 10, and I can't imagine them not winning by 20. I just think their defense will shut Troy down, especially with a new quarterback. Week 1, even week 2, these new quarterbacks who've never played before, I love betting against. It takes you a couple of games to get used to the speed. You're not playing high school anymore. And then just to get used to, 4 quarters and reading blitzes. And, now the team knows what you can do. So it takes the quarterback to got to get comfortable. And that's the key to gambling. You want the comfortable team. They've been there before. They've done it. They know how to do it. AKA New England Patriots. There's nothing new. So that's what you're looking for. So that's why when like Fresno State was terrible 2 years ago. Last year they were really good, but they hadn't been comfortable in the big games. They get to the conference championship game, they lose. So they weren't ready for the moment. Now I think they would be. So that goes to Fresno State. They're the next. Good quarterback, Marcus Marion. Their offense is a little bit, they score in the 26, 27 range. But in that league, you got 6 teams that give up over 31 points. So you should be getting much, Boise got 32. Colorado State got 33. So they're about right, but they're just a little bit under. But they have a great defense, and the defense gave up only 17 a game. And Fresno, quickly looking at my notes, I just have it as a strong team. Good quarterback. I got them more as an under. I think their defense is very strong, as it was last year. And the quarterback's not great, but he's good. He played last year. They don't really have that 1,000-yard running back like San Diego State's been having, the 2,000-yard running back. So that's what keeps them a little bit lower, but they're still a 1 in the conference for sure. And I like Ted for their coach, but he had a problem at Cal. He was, he had Deshaun Jackson and he had Marshawn Lynch and all those guys, but he couldn't win. He never had the defense, so it's kind of surprising. At Fresno State, he's got this strong defense that if he would have had at Cal with all the offense Cal had, they had Aaron Rodgers. They would have won everything if he had this defense at Cal. So look for them to be in every game, good quarterback, and they're just probably going to more pound it and play defense, which is a sign of an under team. Hard to lay 20 points against unless it's San Jose State, but look for them to, with the defense, slowly beat teams by 14, 20 points in the conference. These 3s and 4s and the 5, they should be able to beat them like they did last year. Next, San Diego State. I gave them a 1 because really they're showing great defense. They show, okay, they lost Penny, the running back, and the guy behind them rushed for 700 yards in limited time last year. So I don't know if Penny and the first guy are that good, or it's a nice system they're running. Rocky Long is a great running coach. He always ran the option, and he's a very good coach. So he must have a way to have the running game be very explosive, and the running backs can get 2,000 yards. Because they're not Barry Sanders. When they get into the pros, they're not Barry Sanders running for 2,000 yards. So I look for this running back to probably get 1,500 yards. But I think they're also an under team. Great defense. Quarterback's good. He's not great. And they'll plug in the running back. And again, that's what you wait and see. But probably the same thing. San Diego State can beat anybody. They can play with Boise. So don't jump on Boise against them. You got to be careful. Boise beat them last year pretty good. So, those 3 teams can play with each other, and they should dominate the rest of them. Wyoming. Now, Wyoming, great defense. The coach is a good defensive coach. He's the one that won all of the Division II at North Dakota State. And he's been at Wyoming like 3-4 years now. And really, they're getting better and better defensively. The quarterback, who knows? So I left the quarterback blank as they play. So here's what I do: as a new quarterback, I'm going to take him under. See, this is a perfect under team. New quarterbacks, they're not going to score a lot and a great defense, so they're going to keep them down. That's what you like in an under team. So what I'm looking at is they'll play games under, but they won't. You can't lay a lot of points with them because they just can't score a lot unless they get pick sixes or punt returns. They're not going to do anything. So I like the coach. I don't have a clue about their running back or their quarterback. Watching Josh Allen, I thought he was better than he was 2 years ago. He was very good. Last year, I thought I thought he stunk basically. Lost some money with him. Watched him in some of these games, and he's terrible. Through so many interceptions. You can't avoid the blitz. There'll be nothing in the pros. But so I don't know, if you couldn't score points with Josh Allen, 22, how are you going to score points with some new quarterback? So look for Wyoming to stay under, and we'll just watch the new quarterback and assume he'll be, a good game manager. Get the first downs, get a little scoring, but be careful. And by the way, we have a good defense. Utah State, I've marked as a 2. Very strong on offense. Not as strong as they normally are in defense. The coach, I gave a 3-2 because I don't really think he's as good as they were. I mark him as an over. And let me see why. I got him as a solid team, an over. Very experienced team. So basically, everybody came back, but they lost their quarterback. So it's a very, let's see what happens. But I think they're trying to do a better offense. They're trying to score more. So that's why I marked them as an over. They scored 31 a game. Last year, and gave up 27. So it's one of those things. But I look for them as more of an over, but an experienced team, so they can hang in some games. I don't know what they'll do with Michigan State in the first one, but it's a game to watch to see how the quarterback. See, that's your barometer. If they can score on Michigan State, they'll score on these other teams, because Michigan State's defense is as good as Boise's or San Diego State's or Fresno State. Notice there, all three of those top teams have strong defenses. That's really the key to it. You have a strong defense. You want to run the ball, the rest of the defense, and the quarterback, you need enough to score in the clutch. But that's basically what you're looking at. So Utah State, Colorado State, I have them marked as an over. They've lost a lot. I just have them as an average team. I got them as a 3. They might even be a 4. New quarterback, average defense. So you don't have much of an offense, and you have an average defense. And they've not been known for their defense. They've been known for their offense. So you got a new quarterback, so I'm not crazy about them. They've had that explosive offense the last 4 or 5 years, but I don't see it now. I'd say a weaker team, and a wait and see about the quarterback. Now, sometimes it's the system, or they recruit a certain type of quarterback who's good. So keep your eye on them. Watch them against Colorado. That'll tell you a lot. If they can hang in and beat Colorado, they'll play with these other teams. And if Colorado blows them out, then it's just going to be a long year for them. Next is Nevada. They gave up 34 a game. They scored 28. Ty Ganzi, excellent quarterback. I have him as an over. Very strong offense, a terrible defense, and I like their coach. Norvell is a good coach. So look for them to be very explosive, very good quarterback, very good running back, balanced offense, and a horrible defense. That's the sign of an over. For an over, you need a good quarterback, a strong offense that scores a lot with a coach that wants them to score, and a weak defense that can't stop anybody. So you just touchdown, you give up a touchdown, you score a touchdown. That's what you're looking for in an over. UNLV, same thing. They gave up 31. I got Armani Rogers. He's an option quarterback. I have him as a 2 grade. Very, good quarterback. A strong offense, another weak defense, and I'm not crazy about their coach. I gave the coach a 3. So you're betting the coach just as much. You look at Urban Meyer. If Urban Meyer coaches this year, and it's ridiculous he wouldn't, but if he coaches, there's a huge difference. If he doesn't coach, the backup coaches, even with the same players, you got problems. So that's why I'm saying the coach is huge. A good coach will win you games, and he makes all the difference. So when you get a bad coach out there, he's unorganized, he doesn't know what to do, and believe me, there's a lot of them out here, and that's what I keep trying to find, are the bad coaches, and I bet against them just as much as the bad quarterbacks and the bad defense. The more bads you can find on a team, the more you bet against them. The Air Force, they gave up 32 a game, scored 31. Aaron Worthman, the quarterback, I gave him a 2. Obviously an option. Another terrible defense, another 5 defense. It's terrible, and I like their coach. So look for them to run the ball down everybody's throat, a little more running, and their defense stinks. And normally I would bet Army and Navy against Air Force under, but not this year. I'll definitely think that Air Force Navy will be over, and so will the Army and Air Force be over. Army Navy's always under, because it's very strong defensively in that game. They both know the other's tendencies and game, but nobody else knows how to stop that wishbone. Air Force is close to being able to stop it, but their defense is terrible. So again, look for a bad defense. New Mexico, I gave them a 3. They only scored 20 a game. They gave up 31. Again, a weak defense. Here, Tavaka Tuoti is their quarterback. I got him as an average, waiting to see is he any good or not. I don't think he is. Their offense I rated as a 5. Too many graduations. The defense I rated as a 5. They're just terrible. And the coach is a 3. So this is a run option type of offense. And really, it's just, let's see how the offense takes with the quarterback, but basically the defense can't stop the win. So look for a lot of, if the offense scores, here's how you bet them. If the offense starts scoring, every game's an over. If the offense can't score then and the defense is, like I think, a 5, terrible, then you bet against them every game. So that's the difference. With a bad quarterback and a bad defense, you bet against. With a good quarterback and a bad defense, it's an over. Hawaii. And you watch the stats. You can go get the box scores. You got stats on Yahoo, and you just pull off the conference. You pull up the quarterback. Boom. And you look. Oh, he threw for 260 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That's a good, and they score a lot of points. That's a good quarterback. When he throws for 120 yards and 1 touchdown and 5 picks, he's a bad quarterback. And the quarterback's measured touchdowns and interceptions. That's it. I don't care about percentage, because if he can get you in the end zone, that's the key, and that's what you're looking for. So, I mean, not too many guys throw for 40% and throw for 10 touchdowns and 1 interception. Because you throw a bad percentage, you're going to have a lot of interceptions. So if you can keep your interceptions down, means you're pretty accurate. And so therefore, that's your quarterback. And last but not least, San Jose State, they're a 5. They're terrible. 15 a game. Offensively, they gave up 42. Their quarterback stinks. If it's Josh Love, if it's somebody else, I think they had an option kid in there. And this is where you got to be careful. They'll play around with quarterbacks. So if all of a sudden you're betting against the quarterback because he stinks, and you're betting against them because I got them ranked quarterback 4, offense 5, defense 5, coach 5. So therefore, they're terrible in every area. Now, if the quarterback, they bring in somebody new and he starts lighting it up and scoring a lot, then it becomes an over team because they can't play defense. Instead of betting against them, you bet the over in the game. But normally, like if they're playing Fresno State gives up 17 a game. I wouldn't think San Jose State would score more than 7 points. But since San Jose State gives up 41, even the Fresno offense, which is okay but not great, it's not up to Cal standards, they should be able to put up 35 and win 35-7, something like that. So you can't bet the game over, but then you bet Fresno State. So let's watch the quarterback there. All right, that's the Mountain West. So I look at Boise, Fresno State, San Diego State, the ones. Hawaii's terrible. San Jose State's even worse. Okay, the Pac-12. My 1s, Washington and Stanford. My 2s, USC, Oregon, Utah, UCLA. My 3s, Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, Washington State, Colorado. And my 5 is my Oregon State. So there you go. In the conference, you're betting against Oregon State. Let's look at last year. Oregon State, in a teaser, 4-7. Bet against 9-2. So if you teased Oregon State every game and you went with them, you were 4-7 in a teaser, which means without the teaser, obviously the best could have been 4-7, where you didn't need the teaser, but probably you were 2-9. Meanwhile, here you're 9-2 betting against them, and 6-0 on the road. Where they beat you was 2-2 as a home dog, and they were probably out of the out of conference games, because twice they were the favorite that you would have lost, or no, they were the home dog. So as the home dog, they went 2-2, both playing them and playing against them. But on the road, and that's where my stats come in. Once it breaks it down, now you know, hey, if they're a road dog, 6-0 bet against. So when you get a bad team and they go on the road, they're going to get pounded because the home team is just, they're not going to give any mercy. So let's go look at Washington. Number 1, everybody back. Strong team, strong offense. Jake Browning, first-round draft pick. Myles Gaskin, great running back. They're both back. I got them all across the board. Great coach. Great defense, great offense. They scored 37 a game, gave up 14 a game. And they lost, I believe, to USC last year, keeping them from, no, I don't even know if they played them, but see, this is the problem with this so-called playoff ha-ha joke that we have. How do you not have every conference champion in the playoff? I mean, if you don't have the conference champions of the major conferences in, you left out the Big Ten and the Pac-10, Pac-12. How do you call it a playoff, and how do you say Alabama's the best team? They didn't play Ohio State or Wisconsin. They didn't play Washington. How the hell or USC? So how the hell do you make them? Well, Alabama beat a weak Clemson team and a weak Georgia, well, a strong Georgia team. Clemson didn't have a quarterback. So what if they beat them? How does that make them the best when they didn't play this strong Washington team? You know, okay, so they have a few losses, but look at this conference. Washington, Stanford, USC, Oregon, Arizona, UCLA, Utah, Arizona State's strong. I mean, Washington State. You go down the list, there's 7, 8 strong teams. How the hell are you supposed to go through that undefeated? Just like in the Big Ten with, you know, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin. You know, how are you supposed to go through that undefeated? And then you're going to say, well, they lost, so they're not playoff team. Bullshit. You play this schedule. Let Alabama play this schedule. Alabama plays nothing. They play Auburn. That's it. There's no other team that's strong in the SEC except there's Georgia, Auburn, and Alabama. Alabama will play Auburn. That's it. The rest of the schedule, LSU's not that good. Mississippi's not that good anymore. A&M. So they're beating a bunch of threes, let's say, until they get to Auburn, and then Auburn beats them. But let's reward Alabama anyway. I mean, it's just too weird. It's all a scam. So beware of the scam. And I did my scam video just because it just fit the moment. Okay, so Washington, great team. They're playing Auburn in the first game. That to me is a playoff game right there. You play that in the playoff, that's a playoff game. In the playoff game, I believe it's a neutral place, and I don't want to give bad information. Washington Auburn is in Atlanta, so it's a neutral field. Right now we got Auburn laying 3.5 on a neutral field. I love Washington here, getting the 9.5 points, because what do you have? What do you have to play the dog? Well, the first thing you need is a good quarterback. The second thing you need is a good defense. And the third thing you need is a good coach. And Washington's got all that. There is no reason Washington cannot win this game. You got 9 points. They're not getting blown out by Auburn. I know Auburn's got a good quarterback, and they have a very strong defense, and I love their coach. I look at this game as even, especially on a neutral field. Especially the first game, and it's in Atlanta, so it's in the Dome. So I look at this as a very competitive game. Either team can easily win, and that's what you're looking for. Take Washington in the points. When you get a 1, getting the points on a neutral field, I mean, if it was at Auburn, I'd be a little bit leery, but I'd still take Washington. On a neutral, I really like Washington. Stanford, the other one. Strong defense, but it's not as strong as normal. Stanford, I have the defense as average, I got to put that in here. It's not the typical Stanford defense, but they're still a 1. They still have a good coach. They still have KJ Costello came on and beat Chris out. And of course they got Bryce Love. So anytime you got the superstar, you're going to be a 1. They've got the quarterback. The only thing that keeps them down a little bit is the defense. And we'll see. Normally it's a very strong defense, so we'll see. And the coach, I've warmed up to him a little bit. I thought it was all Harbaugh, but he proved me that he's winning with his recruits. So, and they got Bryce Love, so they can win any game. When you got Bryce Love, when you got a Barry Sanders, a Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, you can win any game. Next is USC. I got them as a 2. Obviously, their offense will go down. The quarterback is he's a question mark. We don't know. They've turned it into an under. They don't have a quarterback, but they have a very strong defense. So their defense is a 1. The quarterback we don't know. And the coach, I give him a 2. I don't love the coach. At least he hasn't proven anything. And anytime you have a strong defense, I look at that, but they don't really have that. Now, Marcus Allen's not in the running back, and we don't know who the quarterback is. Now, if the quarterback turns out to be Joe Montana, the running back turns out to be Marcus Allen, now they're a 1. They have a strong defense. And that's the thing with college. These guys are unknown. In the pros, you've seen them in college. So you know what you're getting when, you got a Baker Mayfield or you've gotten Andrew Luck. You know Andrew Luck from college. You know what you're getting. In college, you have no idea. USC, they I'm sure recruited well. This kid might be great in college, but he might not be. I think Darnell made a huge mistake leaving. He only played 2 years. He should never have left. You leave when you're a senior quarterback. I get the running back. I get what they should play. They should probably play 2 full years. They should redshirt as a freshman. So they should be a redshirt freshman and then play that second year as a freshman, and then the sophomore year play. And if they had good years, there's not a whole lot more they can learn. Maybe blocking on the blitz and catching the ball out of the backfield, they should work on their third year and then go pro if they're that good. But the quarterback needs to, Darnell, he'll be a Matt Leinart. He'll play for 5 games and that'll be it. He doesn't impress me at all. And that's me. Now I knew Joe Montana in college was going to be a superstar, so that's the thing. So you've got to watch, is he a winner or not? And I keep referring to that one game when they got killed like 37-7. USC, I think it was against Notre Dame, and it's like, or no, against Ohio State in the bowl game. It was like 27-7. That's all you need to know about Darnell. Joe Montana would not have lost 27-7. Next game, Oregon. I gave them a 2. Justin Herbert, superstar quarterback. Now, their defense is average, and their coach, Cristobal, has never coached before. So this might be a high grade. They might be a 3. But because of Herbert and their offense, I'm giving them a 2. But their defense is the same normal. They'll give up 25-30. I think this is an over team. Cristobal will have to see. Again, here's an unknown coach. You have no idea. I know he played for the U, Miami, but that doesn't mean he's a good coach. I wouldn't put Michael Irvin on it as a coach. I'd hate to see that guy try to coach. But basically, I got him as a 2, but probably there could be a 3 depending on their defense. But their defense is average. It's a 3. Utah, I've also marked them as a 2. Strong quarterback in Tyler Huntley. They have a very strong offense and a very strong defense. So look for Utah to be, again, very competitive. Hard to bet against. I don't know if they play Washington and Stanford. They'll give USC all they want, but they can score and they can play defense. And I love their coach, so I give them a 2 for the quarterback, which is probably a 1. Their offense right now is a 2, and then the defense is a 1. The coach is a 1. They're very close to a 1 if their quarterback can play and they can find a running back. And some receivers would be nice, but I see them being much tougher on the defense and under 20 on the defense. Like, they gave up 24 a game last year, and you got to realize a lot of it is the quarterback throwing a pick 6 goes against the defense. I don't understand that, and they need to develop new stats because all you have is the stat of they gave up 23.9 a game, 24 points a game, and they didn't. If there's a couple of pick sixes, well, wait a minute, the defense didn't let it up. How about a kickoff return or a punt return? The defense didn't let it up. So if you back all that out, it might be 17 or 18. So that's what you want is the real defense, but then you got to still take into account their quarterback throws pick sixes. So it does mend in there. But I think they're either going to be an under team with that strong defense, or they're going to be a team you bet on because they have a great quarterback with the strong defense makes them, and a strong coach makes them a play Utah team. Next team, Arizona. I got them as a 3. They could be a 2. Again, very strong offense. Probably the best running back besides Bryce Love in the country, and Khalil Tate, the quarterback. This is going to be an option quarterback who is just phenomenal. Look for big scores here, all over the place. Brandon Dawkins, running back, good. Sumlin, he's an offensive coach. Very strong option. And again, a weak defense. This is over City, especially at home, especially against a weak defensive team. So when I see Arizona, who gives up 34 a game, scores 42, look for them when they play. Okay, let's look at their first game. Arizona is playing at home against BYU, and I'll quickly give you a little BYU. BYU only scored 17 a game last year and gave up 24. So they're not that weak defense. Like you wish they were playing Oregon State at home and they'd kill them. Or UCLA who gave up 36. Even Arizona State would be an extremely high score when those two play at the end. That's an over game. But you got to watch college. They make these damn overs 70, 75, 80, which really kills it. I like looking for the 50s to go over, the 60 games. So if you see a 61, I think I had a lock in the bowl game. Middle Tennessee State was playing somebody who was a pretty good over team, and basically their quarterback came back just in time for the last couple of games, and they were averaging 35 a game, but they didn't adjust the points, and it was like a 60 where it should have been a 70, and Middle Tennessee State, goes over because of their quarterback, and I'll get you his name one sec. Middle Tennessee State. Brett Stockstill. So Stockstill gets hurt. They only average 24 a game without him. With him, they average like 35 a game. He comes back in. They're playing somebody who scores a lot, one of those Big Ten type of teams. And, of course, it goes into the 70s, I think, easily going over the 60, tees down to 54. So you got to be careful with that. So Arizona is going to be a very high-scoring team. The great quarterback who runs. Good luck trying to tackle him. The only game you got to watch out for is probably Washington because of their defense. Could shut them down. Keep in mind, a good, strong defense will shut down any quarterback because you can blitz them. You can knock the receivers down. So I don't care, why did Joe Montana lose? Because he played the 84 Bears and he played the 86 Giants, and he would play these premier defenses, and they can take the quarterback away because they can blitz and they can, knock the receivers down. So that's where the great defenses have the advantage. The Steelers would always beat the Raiders with Stabler, even though they score a ton, but not against Pittsburgh because they got pressure on the quarterback, had a lot of picks. That would beat every team. So that's what you have. That's why defense beats offense. And if you have an elite defense, you don't want to bet Arizona against Washington. You want to bet Arizona against Oregon. You want to bet them against Arizona State, Cal, Washington State, Colorado, Oregon State, but not against Washington. That's just a game you don't mess with, and you don't go over on it. Although that could be an over if they can score a little bit, but you do have two great quarterbacks going. UCLA, they scored 33 a game with Josh Rosen and gave up 37 a game with Josh Rosen. We don't know who the quarterback is. Do I have any notes on that? No, I just have a question mark. Weak rushing defense, and basically, I got a question mark with strong run. So I think he's going to bring back that little spread running type of offense with UCLA. The problem is they don't have a quarterback, and they don't have a running back. Their defense sucks. I gave them a 4. So I gave them a 3 with the quarterback because I don't know who it is. Unless it's Mark Harmon coming back. You got 2 for the offense because of Chip Kelly. You got a 4 defense, and I give Chip Kelly a 3 as a coach. No, I give him a 1 as a coach. I think for college he'll be a good coach, but right now they're not. They're going to be maybe a 2, probably a 3. I mean, they could surprise you if he's got the right quarterback and running back. They should have talent. It's UCLA, but their defense sucks, and the defense wasn't any good at Oregon. So look for that to probably also be a high-scoring team. Arizona State, I got them marked as a 3. I got them marked as an over. Last year it was 31 a game offense, 31 a game defense. Good quarterback, Manny Wilkins. I gave him a 2 for the offense. Weak defense, I gave it a 4. And Herman Edwards, I don't know how he's a coach. I gave him a 3. So I don't know what he's going to do. But he ain't going to do much. So this is an over team. Probably a good quarterback and a weak defense. Cal, I gave them a 3. Ross Bowers is an average quarterback. I gave him a 3. I gave the offense a 3. I gave the defense a 3, and I gave the coach a 3. Probably more of a passing team. Probably a little more balanced. But basically, let's see if I gave anything. Cal, I said good, which is not strong, is really what I look for. I have a solid offense and a good defense. Not a strong, but a good. So a solid offense, I gave it a 3. Could be a 2. Ross Bowers, he was there last year, but he stunk, so let's see. And then the defense, could be a little bit better. So we'll see a lot there, but I do like Cal in the opener against North Carolina. But this is going to be probably an over team. I don't know. This could be a bet against team because really without the quarterback and the weak defense, it's hard to. Are they going to score enough to be an over team, or are they just going to be weak defense, weak quarterback? It's just bet against them. But we'll see the first few games. The first game's against North Carolina at home. And I heard North Carolina's quarterback isn't going to play, suspended or something. They suspended 4 or 5 players. I like Cal anyway, even with the quarterback playing, because he's not a good quarterback, and they got to travel to the West Coast. And it's just hard to do anyway, but North Carolina is not a very good team. So I like Cal there, especially 6, and you tease them down to even at home. They should get you the W. Washington State, I gave them a 3. They scored 31 with Luke Falk and gave up 24. They had a pretty good defense last year. They don't have a quarterback. Amazingly enough, I think the quarterback got hurt or transferred. They don't have a quarterback. Can you believe they don't have Washington State? I can pitch Mike Leach doesn't have a quarterback. I gave the quarterback a 3. I gave the offense a 2 because I think they'll find something. The defense is average. I gave it a 3, and I love the coach. I gave the coach a 1. So they're probably a 3. Let's look at the quarterback. He should be good, but it might take him 3-4 games to get comfortable with this offense, especially in the conference. Out of conference, he might look better than he is, but when he starts playing a Utah and a USC And now he's in the North. He'll play Washington and Stanford and Oregon. So when he starts playing those teams, then you'll get a measure. Now if he lights it up against Stanford, oh, okay. If he lights it up against Washington, the guy should be a Heisman Trophy winner. But basically, we'll see what we have. So again, these are beginning numbers, especially like here. Khalil Tate on Arizona, I know, is absolutely dynamite. Browning at Washington's dynamite. Herbert at Oregon's dynamite. I already know that. It's the fill in the blanks. It's USC, it's UCLA, it's Washington State. How are their quarterbacks going to be? Now, they've recruited good because of their names. They have a good brand. So now it becomes, are they really that good? And if they are, then fine. Then we start pounding them because, USC, they've got a strong defense. So if they find a good quarterback, they can go up to a 1. UCLA, it's wait and see if they get a good quarterback, although their defense sucks, so then it would just make them an over team. And Washington State, their defense is a little bit lax. Let's see my notes. I just say they're young. I don't have too much there. Their defense will be average. Basically, they lost a lot to graduation. So look for a young defense that, again, I'll start them as a 3. They could go to a 5. They could go to a 1. They'll probably be a 3. They'll probably be average. Let's go to Colorado. Colorado I got as a 3. I don't like their quarterback, Montez. I got him ranked as a 4, which hurts their offense, which wasn't really that strong anyway. Their defense is where they slipped. They used to have a 1 defense a couple years ago when they won all their games, and now I'm locking them against Stanford, and they're winning 7-2. They got a great defense. This year their defense is just not there. Colorado, I got them as very young, average quarterback Montez, weak rushing defense, average defense. So their defense is not that strong, and I don't like Montez. And Montez hurts him with his interceptions. I like the coach. I can't imagine why he's not recruiting a little bit better. But basically, they're a weak team with the potential because they're young to be they could be all the way up to a 2 or all the way down to a 4. We'll see. But they got to get a better quarterback than Montez in there. And then last but not least, number 5, Oregon State. 20 a game offensively. Give up 43. Jake Luton stinks. They got a running back, Ryan Nell. Okay. Their coach is Smith, who I don't know. I got him as he used to be a quarterback. I think he used to be a quarterback at Oregon State, if my memory recalls. Anyway, I got most 5s for them. I got a 3 as a quarterback, and I'm not sure he's a 3. And then the offense is a 5, the defense is a 5, the coach is a 5. All with let me see. Is this coach going to be a lot better than I think, or is he going to suck? Right now he sucks, but we'll see. So there you have it. Oregon State's the bet against team. And you got a whole load of, we're going to see, we know who the good quarterbacks are. We know who the strong defenses are going to be. Washington, USC, Utah are the top defenses. Stanford and Oregon could improve. And, Arizona State, UCLA, Colorado will be giving up a ton of points. Oregon State's the bet against team. And a lot of these is USC goes to Arizona, let's say. And I don't know if they're going there or going to USC. But if USC's the favorite, then that's where you take Arizona. If the USC... See, once we can define the USC quarterback. In their first game, USC has got against Vegas. Excuse me. And as we said, Vegas, we got them as a weak defense. So if this USC kid doesn't light it up against Vegas, who gives up 32 points a game, USC should dominate them on defense, and then it's up to the quarterback. They'll probably run the ball a lot the first couple of games. So look for USC to beat Vegas. But if USC goes to Arizona, let's say, and their quarterback is average, he's not great. If they're not scoring and they're walking into Arizona, they won't be able to take advantage of Arizona's weak defense. And Arizona, with that kid, with Khalil Tate running, they're going to score on USC. I know what I said about the strong defense, but if you don't have a quarterback, the defense gets tired in the desert, and Khalil Tate, when he runs that option, and I don't know how they're going to stop him with that defense. I mean, it's a great defense. It's not Washington's defense, but is it fast enough to stop Tate? And that's the beauty of college. You have these option quarterbacks. You have the Navy running the triple option. A lot of teams, running wishbones and options and stuff. So my point is, that's what the difference is between the pros and the college. You get all these different flavors. You could have 5 wide receivers in college, or you can be running the wishbone. So you could have Navy playing SMU, and when they do play, Navy kills them because SMU can't stop them, and Navy just takes time of possession and runs up and down the field. We'll get to that in the next video when we do the AAC and probably the MAC. But that's what you have here. So it's key to watch that. Like, who you got in Herbert, Costello, Browning, Khalil Tate. It's the other guys. Did Montez get better? The 3 unknowns at USC, at UCLA, and Washington State. You have offensive coaches in UCLA and Washington State, so they'll figure it out. USC, I'm not sold on their coach, so we'll see what they normally run a balanced offense, good running, good passing at USC, so we'll see how that works. But basically, that's what you have going. So there's a little bit of unknown. Oh, excuse me. So there's a little bit of unknown there, but basically, you'll watch that first 3-4 games. Now, on the other side, you're betting Washington, you're betting Stanford, you're betting Arizona, Oregon, overs. They'll be playing weaker teams. They'll be piling it up. So you have so what you're doing now is you're betting the strong team against the weak out of conference team. That's what you're looking for. The unknowns, you're also seeing how they play, and then you're changing the grade. But you got to be careful. The new quarterback's going to hurt you a couple of games, so you got to be careful. I'd rather bet Browning than bet the kid that's never played at USC except for high school. So that's the difference. And Stanford's got Bryce Love, so you're a little less dependent on the quarterback and a little more just hand the ball to Bryce Love and watch. So you got that. So anyway, those are the 2 conferences. So you can see if they play each other. If Oregon were to play, well, look at USC's playing UNLV. You wish it was Oregon playing UNLV. That game would go to a 75 or 80 easily, or against a better quarterback. Arizona playing Nevada, UNLV, the Air Force, Hawaii. Those are all over games. Unfortunately, Stanford opens with San Diego State, which is actually probably more of an under, but Stanford doesn't have that tough defense, and San Diego State's defense, Bryce Love will get his points, but he's not going to get 200 yards on San Diego State's defense. That ain't going to happen. So anyway, so that's what you kind of are looking for, that Oregon-Nevada matchup, and you just go over 70 and watch the game hit 100. That's what you're looking for. Okay, everybody, Howard the Teaser King. Again, go to www.teaserking.com. There's tabs. Go to Purchase Picks. Purchase your pick. Hold on for the password. You get the password. Then you go into the picks section where the picks are there. You enter the password. You get the picks. Tried to make it as seamless as possible. And you know, that's all you need to do. But just understand, again, I'm unique. I'm not putting 3 games out there on Wednesday and saying, hey, good luck everybody. There's too much late information. I will post games for college. Generally, I try to post everything Thursday, and there could be a slight game or two Saturday. Even when they're playing, I could post a night game Saturday at 2 o'clock, and it's because either I hear an injury or something has happened, or the weather. But on game day, I'll post, so be aware of that. And it's really just when I'm in Vegas and I see the game and I got an hour to bet that game, and all of a sudden I hear a quarterback's out, I'm betting that game. So you got to keep in mind, I'm here to win. I'm here to make you winners, and this is how winners do it. They see an advantage. If you see a stock that just dropped a point, it's a good stock. What do? You buy it. There's no bad news. It just dropped a point. You buy it because you know it's going to bounce back. It's just smart investing. Same thing here. You get a bad line, you bet it. If the line moves in our favor, and it's Saturday morning at 9, and the line moved 3 points, and I like the line movement, I'm going to post it. So just keep that in mind, and it's all to help us win. And I'm betting that. I bet games 10 minutes before kickoff because the quarterback got hurt or the hurt quarterback played. So just keep that in mind. I am very interactive. You can certainly email me anytime saying, how do you like this game? How do you like that game? And I'll be happy to help if it's not one of my picks, or if it is a pick, you might ask, well, why? If you're not purchasing, you can ask me the questions. I'll give you 1 or 2, but basically you need to buy the advisor package, and I lowered it to like $35. And you can ask then any game if you didn't buy the service, but you bought the advisor service, and I can tell you money management, bankroll, matchups, what are we looking for, and I'm explaining a lot here. Looking for the strong quarterback. A weak defense is over. A strong defense, you bet the team, you bet the coach, all that. That's what you're looking for, though. And that's how you deal with the matchups. I've explained Oregon, high-scoring team playing Nevada, a bad defense. That's going to be, Oregon's going to have a field day running up and down the field. That's who you want. Or if Oregon's defense isn't that good, Nevada's got a good quarterback, you bet the game over, unless they make the over 85, which makes it hard to bet it over. You really want a 60 to go over if you can find that type of sleeper, and they're out there. I see those tend to go over more than the others, but some of the 77, the Texas Tech at 77, you just gotta not play, but or bet small. It does take a lot out of it. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Enjoy your summer. www.teaserking.com. Again, season starts the Thursday before Labor Day, that Labor Day weekend. So please feel free to ask questions, and good luck to you. Have a great day, great weekend. Thank you very much. Teaserking.